7:41. Here's another live look from New Orleans as Tropical Storm Barry continues to move closer toward the northern Gulf Coast. A little bit of shake to the camera here as those winds pick up. You can see the tree moving there. I mean, it really looks like a kind of like rainy, cloudy day there, but it's a little more serious than that.
Exactly. I'm reading here like 10 to even 20 inches of rain is expected. That is a lot.
That is definitely a lot of rain. You know, back in 2016 in August, South Louisiana, we had a flood. I was out there covering it. It was one of the worst things I've ever experienced because that much water over a 3-day period, you know, it does a lot of damage. And they're still recovering from that. And today, going into tomorrow, South Louisiana will still be dealing with some flooding out there as well. So flash floods, that's going to be one of the major threats with this system, along with some winds at tropical storm force levels. So we can see some wind damage along with some flooding, even a little bit of storm surge can't be rolled out for some of the coastal neighborhoods. But here's from the 5 o'clock advisory this morning. The next one coming out pretty shortly at 7 o'clock this morning. And this is what we're looking at. Of course, this is back in Central Time there. But we do have that wind still at 65 miles per hour sustained. The movement of this northwest at 5 miles per hour. So the major change is that it did pick up a little bit of speed and is still projected to work its way in the same path into south central Louisiana. But we could see this strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane on the weak end of that, of course, as it does make landfall. So we are going to be watching out for that as we continue throughout the morning into the early half of the afternoon. But as we go into 2 o'clock Sunday morning, it's going to be on land already. It's going to lose the fuel without the water. When it's cut off from that, it's just going to be a very big rainmaker. It's going to lose a lot of those winds as well. And then down as a depression as it continues into Arkansas, working its way in that northeasterly direction as just a very big rainmaker over the next few days ahead. There's a closer look. It can make some landfall as we get closer to the lunch hour going into 2 o'clock this afternoon. So that is between Vermilion Parish, which is right along here, and also into St. Mary here. Again, Louisiana, back in the French days, they had parishes, so they still hold on to that, while everybody else, we have counties, of course. But taking a look, pretty quiet on the area that it's still expected to make landfall in. Right along here, that's where we do get our Tabasco hot sauce from, just in case you were wondering. But as you look into the bigger picture, a lot of that rain on the well eastern half of this and about 156 miles from the center area, that's where they're still dealing with some tropical force storm winds. So well out towards the east, that's where we have a lot of the rain, the winds. The western side of this, still pretty quiet, not really much going on there too much either. So there's a look. Again, we do have that very big onshore wind. So when we have the constant wind from the south, that's going to make the water rise. Again, the potential for a storm surge can't be ruled out. But a lot of that rain, heavy rain, even some storm activity extending all the way as far east as Pensacola. So this will continue to wrap around, dragging all of that moisture along with it. So that's why we do have the potential to see up to 10, even up to 20 inches of rainfall total with this system as it will continue to push in the northerly direction across southern Louisiana. But the extent of how much rain we could see extends all the way far north as Tennessee. So that's why a flash flood watch is in effect, because we can't see the very heavy rainfall in some of that especially low-lying areas, and that can lead to the potential for some flooding. So that's why this area should take notice and be aware of that. So here's a look at the rainfall totals expected up until Tuesday. Again, we could see a little bit more than what's being projected. The Euro model yesterday was showing up to 20. We're starting to see about 15 even inches of rainfall from Baton Rouge down into Morgan City. So again, flooding will be a very big issue with this system. But for us here in Southwest Florida, notice we just have the cloud coverage well off over us. We're going to hold on to that. No morning rain, but all that tropical moisture is sitting south of Louisiana. Again, this will continue to lift north, make landfall, and then of course we will see the chance for the swells for us here in Southwest Florida for our coastal areas. As for the storm surge potential, up to 3 feet at most. Again, a lot of this area is used to seeing some of the high tide waters roll through. So that's why when we eliminate that area, we're just left with a few areas of some yellow showing up to 3 feet for mostly the coastal areas. But looking at New Orleans, they are free from any storm surge. So that's a good deal for them. So here's a look at the tropical satellite. That's what we have in the Gulf, well off towards the Atlantic. We do have another system. Doesn't really look like it's going to be moving too much, just in a westerly direction. And we are going to monitor that over the next few days ahead. But for us here in Southwest Florida, storms late this afternoon. We get a break this morning. Even tomorrow, afternoon storms with temperatures in the 90s.
R. Kelly appeared